Tonight, a controversial Irish rap group banned from Canada. Why Ottawa is silencing the Belfast trio.
Open endorsements of terrorist groups are not free speech.
How they plan to play their next move. Plus, one-on-one with Pierre Poilievre.
I would seek a tariff-free deal.
Where the Conservative leader stands on trade war tactics and his upcoming leadership review. Plus, a world-class rugby win.
Can you believe it?
Canada's women's team peaks at the right time on the pitch. A look at the history they're chasing down.
I think we never stop believing.
CTV National News with Heather Butts.
Good evening. Controversial Irish rap group Kneecap has been banned from entering Canada, deemed ineligible over what the federal government says is their open endorsement of terrorist organizations. And as CTV's Alison Hurst reports, the Belfast trio is now threatening action of their own.
Free, free!
The Irish rap group Kneecap, known for its politically charged performances, is barred from entering Canada.
Political debate and free speech are vital to our democracy, but open endorsements of terrorist groups are not free speech.
The group has 4 shows scheduled in Canada next month, 2 in Toronto and 2 in Vancouver. Kneecap has been accused of amplifying political violence and has faced outrage over seeming public support for terrorist organizations such as Hezbollah and Hamas. In February, the group shared this photo of a member reading a book written by a Hezbollah leader.
This message is that hate will not be tolerated, not in our streets, not on our campuses, and not on stage.
The band had to cancel its U.S. tour earlier this year after a member of the group was charged with a terrorist offense in the UK. Those charges came after videos emerged appearing to show 27-year-old Mo Chara wearing a Hezbollah flag over his head.
We've seen hate crimes go up by 50% across the country over the last few years. We have seen unspeakable demonization across our city in protests and in mobs, and we must do everything we can to keep our city safe.
Kneecap was swift to respond to the Canadian government, posting in part, "Your comments about us are wholly untrue and deeply malicious. No member of Kneecap has been convicted of any crime in any country ever. We have today instructed our lawyers to initiate legal action against you." Fans are sharing their disappointment. To them, the band wrote in part, "It is our view that when the government realized there was no legal basis on which to stop us, they today, via Vince Gasparro, sought to maliciously misrepresent Kneecap. We have played in Canada many times with 0 issues. We are sorry we cannot be with you next month."
I am outraged, honestly. Some people are not surprised. I am surprised because I never thought that I'd find myself living in Canada where the Canadian government would ban an Irish music group from entering the country just for speaking up against a genocide.
Canada is not the first country to do this. Hungary also barred the group earlier this summer, saying the musicians' presence in the country would constitute a risk to national security. Alison Hurst, CTV News, Toronto.
The federal government introduced its new hate crime bill today, taking aim at a troubling rise in incidents against Jewish and Muslim Canadians, their places of worship and schools. CTV's Abigail Beeman now on the new criminal offences and the concerns they go too far.
The flames went up the door.
Cantor Henry Topaz's Montreal synagogue was firebombed twice since the October 7th Hamas terror attack. He says the government's new hate crime bill is a step in the right direction.
The idea of vulnerable infrastructure, notably houses of worship, are now more protected than they ever have been before.
The Combating Hate Act proposes 4 new criminal offenses, including making it a crime to obstruct or intimidate people trying to access places of worship and other places like schools.
The prevalence of hate crimes in this country that steal those freedoms are something that should shock the conscience of every Canadian.
If passed, hate-motivated crime would be a specific offense, and it would be a crime to promote hate against an identifiable group through symbols, including a swastika and those from designated terror groups.
It's going to be important to make sure that law enforcement is able to actually make the distinction between what is a hateful symbol and what is not a hateful symbol.
Statistics Canada shows police-reported hate crimes motivated by religion have been on the rise, largely due to attacks on Jews and Muslims. Last year, there were 229 Islamophobic attacks and 920 anti-Semitic.
Too often, criminal law, provincial laws, or even municipal bylaws have not been enforced as they should have been.
While the Canadian Civil Liberties Association is concerned the bill goes too far.
The provision could easily be read by the police as capturing protests that are peaceful, yet seen by some as offensive.
The Justice Minister said protecting free expression was top of mind when crafting the bill. It's not yet clear what support his minority government may have from other parties as the bill moves through the House. Heather?
Abigail Beeman in Ottawa. Thank you. Republican Senator Ted Cruz is accusing the head of America's broadcast regulator of acting like a mafioso for threats made to broadcasters for airing Jimmy Kimmel's show.
I think it is unbelievably dangerous for government to put itself in the position of saying, we're going to decide what speech we like and what we don't, and we're going to threaten to take you off air if we don't like what you're saying.
Federal Communications Commission Chair Brendan Carr warned the FCC could take action against ABC and its parent company Disney over remarks Kimmel made on his late-night show about the killing of conservative activist Charlie Kirk. ABC announced it was pulling the show indefinitely after the comments. U.S. President Donald Trump defended Carr today.
I think Brendan Carr is a courageous person. I think Brendan Carr doesn't like to see the airwaves be used illegally and incorrectly.
If ABC thinks that this is going to satisfy the regime, they are woefully naive.
We have another fun, hilarious, administration-compliant show.
I do know Jimmy Kimmel, and he's a decent, funny, and loving guy, and I hope he comes back.
I've always admired and respected Mr. Trump.
Late-night TV host, reaction there, and Canadian actor Tatiana Maslany, who starred in a Disney Marvel series, is now calling on people to boycott Disney's products and services. And police are investigating shots fired at the ABC affiliate station in Sacramento, California. At least 3 bullets were fired into the lobby. No one was injured, but demonstrators had gathered outside the station yesterday to protest Kimmel's suspension. Canada has launched public consultations over the upcoming review of the Canada-US-Mexico agreement. The federal government says it's focused on easing the pain of Donald Trump's tariffs. CTV's Judy Trin has more as the Prime Minister wrapped up his visit to Mexico.
Look at that pride of Canada right there.
Prairie wheat being offloaded from a Canadian train in Mexico. A choreographed moment to emphasize how improving rail lines, ports, and pipelines can lead to economic growth in both countries. The Prime Minister's strategic partnership with President Claudia Sheinbaum aims to boost trade with Mexico. The results will be tracked.
Every 3 months, there will be an accountability mechanism for us to reconvene with Mexico, and in particular the ministers responsible for the various items in the action plan.
The plan also calls for more cooperation in fighting drug cartels and human trafficking. But analysts say this meeting was more about concerns that the Canada-US-Mexico trade agreement is unraveling.
It really is about making sure that we're singing from the same songbook and that Mexico and Canada are not going to get played off of one another.
This after some troubled trade history. During the first Trump administration, Mexico signed a side deal that threatened a North American agreement. But these two leaders say they're committed to negotiating a continental agreement.
CUSMA, USMCA, is strength together. It's strength of the 3 countries together.
Now, after the U.S. launched public consultations, Canada is doing the same.
Formally, the beginning of the Canadian consultative process with Canadian industry, businesses, workers.
In the meantime, LeBlanc will be visiting Washington in the next few weeks to continue trade talks. He'll also be leading a trade mission to Mexico in the near future. All this as CUSMA is set to expire in June 2026. Judy Trin, CTV News, Mexico City.
Here at home, Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre made his return to the House of Commons this week following his defeat in last year's federal election. Today, he sat down with CTV's chief political correspondent, Vashi Kapelos, who joins us now from Ottawa. Vashi, Pierre Poilievre's been very critical of Mark Carney's handling of trade with the U.S. So what type of trade deal would Poilievre accept?
Yeah, that's the exact question I had for him, particularly in light, Heather, of the way in which he has characterized the government as sort of capitulating to Donald Trump. Many other countries who have secured a deal ended up with a baseline tariff rate of at least 10%. So my question to him was, if he were prime minister, would he settle for a deal that involved some base level of tariffs for Canada?
I would seek a tariff-free deal. I mean, we used to have that privileged access to the American economy, and in exchange for that, we could provide more continental security that would make both our countries more secure and stable. That's the deal that I would go for.
And some extra context, the federal government is currently negotiating with the White House on those sectoral tariffs, which remain very high and very punishing, Heather.
All right, and Vashi, Poilievre is facing a leadership review in January. What did he have to say about that?
Well, look, just a week ago, we saw Bonnie Crombie, the Ontario Liberal leader, get 57% in her leadership review and have to step aside. So my primary question to him was, what is the number that would either cause him to stay or leave in January when he faces that review? One more question, if you'll permit me, on another vote that you're going to face, and that's the leadership review in January. Do you have a magic number?
No, I don't believe in magic.
Do you have a number at which you think you need in order to remain as leader?
I don't know.
Why not?
I'll be working to win over the people of the Conservative Party who will be there, and our message will be that I'm the leader that will bring forward the Canada that will restore the promise of the country.
So infer what you want from the lack of desire from the leader of the Conservative Party to put a number on it, but I thought the question was worth asking, Heather.
And again, that review coming in January. Vashi, thank you. For the full interview, watch CTV Question Period on Sunday at 11 a.m. Eastern, 8 a.m. Pacific on CTV and CTV News Channel. Filmmaker and journalist Avi Lewis says he's running to become the next NDP leader.
It's the everyday emergency of just trying to get by in an impossible economy.
Lewis ran unsuccessfully as an NDP candidate in the last two federal elections. His grandfather David once led the party. His father Stephen led the Ontario NDP. One of British Columbia's top-ranking RCMP officers is facing multiple assault charges over something that happened while he was off duty. CTV's BC Bureau Chief Andrew Johnson has more.
Hello. My name is David Taboul.
Assistant Commissioner David Taboul, who is the RCMP's Pacific Region Commander, is accused of assault and assault by choking against one person and a single count of assault against a second person. The alleged offences happened when Taboul was off duty in Abbotsford, BC on July 2nd.
You don't see an assistant commissioner in the RCMP charged criminally every day. He would be the second highest ranking person in the entire province of British Columbia, which is the RCMP's biggest province in terms of staff. They have numbers probably 6,000, 7,000, 8,000 people there. So this is a pretty big deal.
According to the RCMP's website, Taboul formerly led the force's anti-corruption unit and national security counter-terrorism program. Recently, he's been the public face providing updates on major cases in BC, including the murder of Sikh activist Hardeep Singh Nijjar.
The BC RCMP says Taboul has now been reassigned and his duty status is subject to continuous review and assessment. A special prosecutor has been appointed to avoid any improper influence on the justice process. Andrew Johnson, CTV News, Vancouver.
RCMP in Nova Scotia are deploying specialized cadaver dogs to search for the Sullivan siblings who have been missing since May.
I'd be very confident if we can get our dogs in the right area, that our dogs, even if it's been a hot, dry summer, that should be fine for us.
The dogs arrived from Alberta and British Columbia. They are specially trained to pick up the scent of human remains. Jack and Lily Sullivan vanished from their home in Pictou County more than 4 months ago. We have new details on a small measles outbreak north of Toronto. Doctors aren't all that concerned for people who are vaccinated, but are warning about the spread of vaccine hesitancy from south of the border. Here's CTV's Adrian Gobriel.
A foreign strain of the measles is confirmed to have landed on Canadian soil and is to blame for an outbreak of 5 known cases in children in Vaughan, Ontario.
We do know there's been community transmission, and all the 5 cases we're talking about are linked. So we know that just from the lab analysis that they're all actually the same subtype of virus.
The emergency room at the Cortellucci Vaughan Hospital is one of 2 locations where there may have been an exposure, though health officials note that if you're vaccinated, there's little to be concerned about.
This vaccine, especially in children and adolescents, does a remarkable job in preventing infection, and there's overwhelming data supporting that.
As of September 6th, there's been more than 4,900 cases of measles reported across the country, with the largest clusters found in Alberta and Ontario, where more than 2,300 cases have been confirmed. The largest measles outbreak found here in southwestern Ontario, where the highly contagious disease spread at an alarming rate through some of the region's Mennonite communities, where vaccination rates are below the national average.
When you do have a pocket of non-immune individuals and you introduce the virus into that pocket, it's going to take off like wildfire.
Infectious disease specialists are hopeful that the worst of Canada's 2025 outbreaks are behind us. The recent Canadian cases come as a newly appointed federal advisory panel stateside installed by U.S. Secretary of Health Robert F. Kennedy Jr. passed a vote this week recommending that children under 4 no longer receive an all-in-one vaccine for measles, mumps, rubella, and chickenpox. North of the border, some doctors are worried that decision could lead to more vaccine hesitancy.
I'm not looking to the United States for guidance on the appropriate path forward. And I don't think much of the world is either.
Here in the Greater Toronto Area, if you visited a location where there may have been a potential exposure, you're being asked to call your local public health unit immediately. Adrian Gobrel, CTV News, Vaughan, Ontario.
Coming up after the break.
It does send a chilling message to many people in the 2S LGBTI community.
White advocacy groups say Alberta's transgender laws could make for an uncertain future for some people in the province. Estonia has summoned a Russian diplomat in protest after what the NATO member is calling an unprecedentedly brazen violation of its airspace. Estonian officials say 3 Russian military aircraft breached its airspace this morning and remained for 12 minutes. This latest incursion marks the 3rd into NATO countries this month. Russia denies the allegation. And U.S. President Donald Trump says an American strike on alleged drug traffickers in international waters has killed 3 men. Advocacy groups challenging Alberta laws affecting transgender people remain defiant tonight after learning government plans discovered in a leaked internal memo. CTV's Kathy Lee on the revelations and the controversy surrounding it.
Milo Bernard knows firsthand how complex self-discovery can be as a trans person.
I actually didn't start my whole medical transition, social transition until my 30s.
He now works at Skipping Stone, a nonprofit supporting trans and gender diverse people.
Everybody, regardless of whether they're cisgender or transgender, right, should have the opportunity, especially when they're young, to explore their identity.
Exploring that identity could be even more challenging after a leaked memo obtained by the Canadian press reveals the Alberta Premier intends to invoke the notwithstanding clause for 3 transgender laws.
You effectively protect the law and its continued operation, even if a court were to find that it interfered with, say, freedom of religion or equality rights.
Those laws passed last year include requiring parental consent for students under 16 to change their names or pronouns at school, banning transgender girls from joining female sports teams, and restricting gender-affirming healthcare for youth under 16.
I don't know how any human being, let alone a child, begins to process and reconcile that the government has told them that they're a second-class citizen.
Advocacy groups are challenging parts of the laws in court, calling them discriminatory.
It does send a chilling message to many people in the 2S LGBTI community.
While the government says it is prepared to use all legal and constitutional tools to protect children. Kathy Lee, CTV News, Calgary.
Still ahead.
Canada 34!
How Canada's women's rugby team shocked New Zealand to advance to the World Cup finals. An amazing victory today for Canada's women's rugby team.
Can you believe it? Canada 34, New Zealand 19. Canada are going to the gold medal Rugby World Cup final.
That's right. Canada held off a late rally by six-time champion New Zealand to make the final of the Women's Rugby World Cup.
I think we never stop believing, and we still believe, and we're going to be ready for next weekend. We're super excited. That was a huge boost of confidence today.
Canada will play the winner of England and France in next weekend's final. Still ahead, dashing with joy, the four-legged friends who are gaining popularity one walk at a time. We leave you tonight with some puppy love and one man's desire to spread joy. He goes the extra mile on daily walks with his wiener dog, the duo getting plenty of double takes. CTV's John Valley-Rao shows us why.
Do you want to go for a walk?
That's the question Rich Lutchford loves to ask his best friend Maya, a tiny dachshund whose daily walks involve more than the usual gear.
Go on then, let's go.
Because Lutchford, hoping to fetch some smiles, aiming to turn heads with an inflatable suit that has nothing to do with Halloween.
Just thought it would be funny.
Lutchford, who works as a roofer, simply started regularly walking Maya in public dressed like this. A wiener dog walking a wiener dog.
People kind of look at me like, what is this? Other people are smiling, and I point at them and say, that's what it's all about. That smile. Have a great day. Yes! Have a great day!
Lutchford hoping to add some levity to a world that could use it right now.
Yeah!
And this, the kind of response he gets everywhere he goes.
I've had literally people scream, stop, say, oh my gosh, and then drive off.
And of course, everyone wants a picture. What do you love about it?
Everything. He's walking in public like that. I love it.
I think it's great. Lutchford also posting videos of himself doing things like going to the dog park and wandering through a grocery store. All sorts of local groups are now asking him to make appearances. The mayor of neighboring Whitby noticed and awarded him a certificate acknowledging the joy he was bringing to others.
I thought it was pretty cool.
So what does Maya think of it all? Lutchford says she gets excited when he puts on the suit.
I think she likes me more as a dog than as a human.
And Lutchford, he plans to keep on warming as many hearts as he can, leaving his mark one smile at a time. John Valley-Rao, CTV News, Oshawa, Ontario.
Quite the duo. That's our newscast. I'm Heather Butts. Thank you for watching. Good night, and I'll see you again tomorrow.